In other news from around the world, Kamala Harris went on the offensive against Donald Trump in a fiery, televised debate, getting under her rival's skin as they battled for a breakthrough in an agonizingly close election. The Democrat clashed with the extreme Republican on hot-button issues from abortion to democracy and accused him of being a friend to dictators. Trump repeatedly raised his voice as he hit back at the vice president on immigration and the economy, branding her a Marxist and blaming her for what he said were the failings of President Joe Biden's administration. The former president claimed after that the clash in Philadelphia was his best debate, while Harris's campaign also claimed victory and challenged him to a second debate in October.
Donald Trump was fired by 81 million people. So let's be clear about that. And clearly he is having a very difficult time processing that.
She hates Israel. At the same time, in her own way, she hates the Arab population.
And I'll tell you, as a prosecutor, I never asked a victim or a witness, are you a Republican or a Democrat? The only thing...
For more on this, I'm joined by international correspondent Afia Hagen, and we're also joined by Etse Sikanku, special correspondent and associate professor, journalism, UNIMAC Ghana. He joins us from Iowa City, USA. Thank you so much for joining us at this time.
Thank you very much.
Let me begin with you, Afia. Now, everyone will want to know who won the debate between Trump and Harris.
And that really is the question. Look, to define a winner, the winner is the one who has the viewer believing that they were the best person, that they had the authority and the credibility. And a snap poll that was taken just after the election, just after the debate, shows that 67% of those polled just after the debate thought that Harris had the advantage. Now, in the spin room, from people who I've spoken to who were in the spin room last night, the vibes, as it were that Harris really took the fight to Trump, managed to get under his skin, and this wasn't his best debate performance. He wasn't the Trump that we saw that was debating against Joe Biden, where he clearly won. He didn't lean into the moments where he could talk about immigration and talk about things that he has done that were positive. It was more about personal attacks. So it seems that Harris came out the victor. She did manage to get under Trump's skin, and he ended up repeating conspiracy theories and not really setting out his stall in the way that his team and the campaign would have wanted him to do.
Right, so what were some of the standout moments from the debate? Afia, still on you.
Yeah, there was quite a few standout moments from the debate. Donald Trump insisted they had nothing to do with this Project 2025, which is this kind of blueprint that we keep hearing that would have dangerous Republican policies within it. Now, both candidates clashed over reproductive rights, with Trump saying that babies would be executed under certain laws, and moderators had to fact check him on that. Kamala Harris invited voters to go to a Trump rally to see people leave due to exhaustion and boredom. Moderators were forced to step in again when Donald Trump repeated a debunked myth about immigrants eating pets. Mr. Trump also referred to his assassination attempt, saying that he probably took a bullet to the head because of Democrats weaponizing him. And Miss Harris, also told Trump that Vladimir Putin would eat him for lunch.
You, Etse, you witnessed the debate. So what do you make of this debate, and what were your standout, moments?
Thank you very much. This was a very critical and important part of the presidential race because it was the first time that Donald Trump and Kamala Harris were going to meet. For Kamala Harris, she had just been nominated as the Democratic standard bearer. And so it was important. We all do know the context within which she was appointed within a very short time after Joe Biden had stepped down. She did not go through a primary, as is the conventional process. And so she is one of the few presidential candidates in modern history to have such a short time to put her campaign together. She's basically crafting this campaign on the fly. And so it was a very important time for her to reintroduce herself to the American people, for her to establish her credibility, for her to convince a lot of people of her viability and her substantiveness in the election. One of the things that came out of the convention and out of the race so far is that a lot of people say, well, they do like her personal story, but they are waiting to hear more details on her policy and her programs. This was an important moment for Kamala Harris to establish her presidentialness within the psyche of the American people. I do think that she achieved that particular indicator. She looked very presidential. At least she met the presidential bar. Her temperament was very calm and collected. She did not buy into those tropes of an angry black woman. She was able to rise above the tide. And most importantly, she was able to take the fight to Donald Trump as and when she deemed it necessary. Her strongest moment was during the period she was talking about abortion rights and the freedom of females to choose what to do with their bodies. She was also very strong when it came to her prosecutorial record as well. Very eloquent and very, very well prepared. If there's one thing we can take away, it was that Kamala Harris really prepared for this debate and came in with a strategy, came in with a plan and executed it. But on the side of Donald Trump, one of the things we have to realize is that Donald Trump never backs down from a fight. Many people do say that Kamala Harris baited him. But we have to recognize that in a debate, you are speaking to constituencies. You are not just speaking to yourself. And for Donald Trump's constituency, what I would say is that he fed them red meat. He was able to double down on a lot of issues, never apologized for January 6th. He did not back down on his comments on racism. He did not back down on his comments on immigration, saying that certain immigrants were eating the cats and the pets of people in America. He was very, very aggressive as he was. And I do think there are concerns about the civility and the intemperate nature of the language that is in the debate. One of the concerns that you would realize from this American debate was the level of viciousness and the level of polarization that existed in the political discourse that we saw in the debate. So Trump did not back down either and sought to have the very last words in this particular debate. Debates are defined by moments, and each presidential candidate has to leave the debate with a moment that makes an imprint on the mind of the audiences. For many audiences, this moment came when Kamala Harris was able to tell Donald Trump that he was a disgrace. He was able to call out Donald Trump on certain issues directly by looking out to his face. At a point, she said, "I am not Joe Biden." Those were really strong moments for Kamala Harris.
Exactly. I seem to remember when he also said that she didn't have a plan and she was dependent on Joe Biden's plans. But sorry.
Just to wrap up, and for Donald Trump, just to be fair, to balance it out, Donald Trump also had his moments, some of them quite nasty, but for the people who support him, this is the kind of rhetoric he has always used and to persuade his own voters.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for that comprehensive perspective, Etse. We appreciate you for your time. And thank you so much, Afi, as well, for sticking around.